Hey, welcome back to the Episodes Wrong podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and as always, my co-host here with me. Hey, Trip.
Hey, man.
How's it going, man?
I'm great. I'm really excited to talk about Bright, Samurai Soul.
Me too.
Great.
Can't even lie about it. I'm so stoked about this. It's on Netflix. It just came out. Remember that movie Bright with Will Smith and that other guy?
Barely.
Yeah, they made an anime.
Oh, shit.
And then they went to the past.
Honestly, though, like when I heard that this was out, I was like, are you fucking shitting me? Because I had heard that Bright was going to have like a couple of sequel films coming out. Mm-hmm. And then this happened before those. Did we decide it was 4 years?
How long it's been?
I think it's been 4 years.
Ooh,
yeah.
I don't think we talked about that. But yeah, that feels right. I remember it was a big deal because superstar Will Smith was making a Netflix original movie, and people were like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
it's gonna be so good," and it was pretty okay.
Yeah,
and then I think I do remember hearing about they're making an anime out of it. I just didn't realize that the anime wasn't going to actually be in the Bright universe that we know of.
What are you fucking talking? It's exactly in the same universe,
just like 100,000 years earlier. I don't know.
It's in the same universe as Yasuke. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you that. I'm not gonna fight with you. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, yeah,
that was also a bad one. Yeah, we'll get into
good.
it. We weren't super stoked, but it's really funny though. We kind of were for a split second, but we'll talk about that later when we get around to it.
What the fuck?
We're talking about Bright when we get around to the fucking thing.
I don't want to talk about that.
We have to talk about it.
All right. If it's the job that needs to be done, I'll do it.
That's what we do. Yeah.
Okay. How have you been?
Been good. I actually didn't write. I mean, I'm not going to say it's like, oh, like I didn't have the time. I had plenty of times to sit down and just write down what I did this week.
Hey, man, you don't need it. You got that in your
fucking
gut, man.
Off the dome. Here we go. Off the dome. What I've done this past week. Yeah.
10 minutes.
Exactly how that felt.
All right.
Shut up. Don't worry about it, guys.
All right. I fucked up. Don't worry.
Animating a bunch. Working on my walk cycle for my... He's a Drake. He's not a dragon. I got into
okay, this does change a lot because I was under the impression that it was a dragon, so I was sympathetic. But now that I know it's a Drake, go fuck yourself.
I was talking to I think Partlow about it. I was just like, "Hey man, like," I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "Let me see your dragon." I was like, "I don't think it's a dragon." And then we got into like, "Well, what is a dragon?" I was like, "I'm pretty sure dragons 4 legs and wings, right?" He goes like, "Yeah, I thought it was like." The two wings, but the wings are part of the arms. Like, no, I think that's a wyvern or something like that. Like, well, what's this? And and then I had to pull up. What really upset me is I had to pull up a like different types of dragons list, right? And then they popped up, and I was just like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, they're categorized, and people are like, well, this dragon has this. I'm like, these aren't real. Like, it's crazy.
So the problem with doing that, is that there are so many different dragons from so many different worlds.
Yeah,
a fucking D&D dragon is going to be different than a Warcraft dragon or whatever the fuck.
Exactly.
Like, you're going to have vastly different definitions of different mythical creatures based off of the worlds they're in. So if you want to call your Drake a dragon, call it a fucking dragon, dude. That's a dragon.
But I was just like, I know. It's like, in my head, I'll go like, dragon is 4 legs, wings. Like, that's what I think about. Because I think that's what they are in D&D.
Oh, you mean a worm? You mean a fucking...
Yeah. No, like, and then Kyle said a worm. I was like, what the fuck is that? So I looked it up. It's like a snake. It's like a giant dragon snake. And I was like...
We fought them in Pathfinder.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like, okay, fine. Anyways, the bottom of the list. At the bottom of the list, 4 legs, no wings, Drake. I was like, oh, okay.
You're making a lizard.
I'm making it's a big dinosaur. It's a Littlefoot from that animated movie, Land Before Time, Part 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Don Bluth.
Yeah. So been doing that. It's been tough. Not working with Quadruped in the past. I complained about my rig issues.
Rough shit.
It's all right, man. Just gotta get over it. That's how I felt. So. Been kind of working on that. What else happened this week?
I like that you got to learn about dragons accidentally.
Yeah.
Like, you were just having a good time, and then your friend was like, we have to sit down and discuss dragons, my friend.
It wasn't like a huge thing, but I did for sure spend like 20, 30 minutes being like, well, what is it exactly? Like, trying to figure out.
Would it be in the film Dragonheart, or in the film Dragonheart 2?
Ooh, is it a dragon in Dragonheart, though? Because... What about the thing in the one where
there is, by the way?
What's it called? Is it called Dragonheart? No, the Neverending Story. Is he a dragon? That big wolf dog thing that flies in the air?
I mean, hey man, I'm gonna tell you some bold shit right now.
All right, let's hear it.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a child, so I can't tell you if Falcor is a dragon or not a dragon. But if you were to ask me, like if I saw it, I would be like, Falcor is a dragon.
I think it's funny that you can remember his name. I had no idea what his name was.
I am completely aware of the names of dragons in every form of media. That's one of the few things that I actually know.
Name a dragon in Lord of the Rings.
Okay, Smaug.
Damn, he got me.
Yeah, well, that's from The Hobbit, but it's
same shit,
same world,
same thing but different.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah,
we're all good
because I don't know Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and if you asked me any other dragon, I would have given you a bullshit answer. Probably would have said Smaug, honestly, just as a good default. I would say that 95% of dragons are named Smaug.
Yeah,
facts.
Without not even flinching. That's what you're gonna say. That.
Would you like to check? Would you like to fact check me right now?
No, I don't have the time.
Because I think you would be pretty embarrassed to find out that 95% of dragons have the same name.
Yeah, well, that would be embarrassing.
It's just Lord of the Rings bullshit.
Egg on my face.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
What happened? Let's see. Watch Survivor.
Oh, dude, I've heard of that show. Do people live?
What season is it?
It's season 41.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
Finally.
Finally, last week I tried to ask. That was
last week you tried to guess.
Yeah. Well, same thing. my ask was just saying a number for you to correct me. One thing that I've learned being on the internet: if you say the wrong thing, somebody else is going to come and tell you the correct thing.
Right.
So I got it.
So in this episode, this player that I'm not a big fan of went home, which is good. His whole deal was he kept saying yeah, I was a huge nerd growing up. I was such a nerd growing up. And then, I'd watch Survivor and it really inspired me to become cool. And now I'm cool. I'm an athlete. And I want to inspire the kids like the people on Survivor inspired me. I want to be that new Malcolm. I want to be that new Ozzy, And he's got his earring and he's got his dreads and he's got a necklace that has a gold chain that has the little word and it says king on it, and he seems like such a douche.
I thought it was just going to be a cross, like a little
no, it says king in cursive. Like, oh my God.
Man,
he's competing, and every time he competes, he's always trying to be like the superstar and take the hard things. Like, oh, someone has to throw this thing. He's like, I'll be the one to throw, or someone has to lift this. I'll be the one to lift this thing. And the end of the competition was to throw. I think it was hoops, rope hoops into hooks, to nail 3 of them.
Yeah, hoops into hooks.
And he's just doing it, and other people are oh, come on, you can do it. Other teams are catching up, and he throws it, and he says money, he's and it bounces right off, and then right after that, the guy on the other team throws it, hooks it, and it's just okay, now you got to go home. He got sent home. And he didn't get sent home for doing that. He got sent home.
He didn't do it without inspiring a few people along the way, for sure.
I think
it's all good.
He inspired a lot of kids.
Yep.
I'm inspired by him. God, he's so dumb. He was talking about he wants to play aggressive, and he's doing fairly well. He had acquired an advantage, and he was able to convince people that he didn't acquire it. But when someone found out that he got this extra vote or whatever, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. He gave the extra vote to that person to hold on to it as a sign of good faith. And then in the next episode, he asked for it back. He's just hey, you deceived me. I want my extra vote back. And she's like, fine, I'll give you the extra vote back. She gave it back to him. And then at the end of that episode, she's like, you know what? I'm going to try to get him to give me that extra vote back. I'm going to tell him that I don't feel comfortable with him having it. So she puts on a real show, starts deceiving him, and she's just he's like, oh my God, okay, I'll give you that. So he gives her again the extra vote back to show good faith. Vote his ass home. They send him home, and then she gets the extra vote, and I was like, good, you are a fucking idiot. You gave it up once, you managed to get it back, and then you gave it up again. You absolutely deserve to go home. You're stupid.
A bit.
You're stupid. So he went home, which is I'm kind of happy for, because I was getting annoyed with him. Money, idiot. The challenge, Sierra and I scored the exact same points this week, which doesn't help me because she's ahead of me.
Your fantasy challenge league is just fascinating.
Jero scored 1 more point than I did.
Somebody threw up a little bit more?
No, I don't know what happened. Maybe one of my players cried, which lost me a point. Something like that.
That's a bummer. Yeah.
And then we've gotten to that point where Stephanie, who is the 4th member that's playing with us, she's lost 3 of her 6 players, or it was down to only having 3 players, and we have 3 players that you play every week, and then 2 extras. And now this is the first time someone's not gonna have a full roster, which is like something we talked about. Like, it's a possibility. Like, there's only a finite amount of players or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles. Like, if you just run out of players, then you just don't have people to play, you know. And then that's just how it ends. I was like, and there's no real way for me to fix that unless I made it so it was like multiple people could draft more players. You know, like 2 people could have the same person. You know, I was like, that's kind of complicated kind of thing. It's just too much work for me to think about. But anyway, Sierra's still in first place. I'm in second. Dro's catching up. He's getting close. Steph is essentially out of luck. She'll probably have players in the finale, maybe at least one, but I don't think she's going to win it. It just doesn't look good for her. The big bummers. Chargers played.
Oh, got invited over the teams that you like.
Got invited over to my friend Matt, and he's Sierra's friend because they met when they were coworkers at Kohl's, and then 2 of them, him and some other girl that worked together, got married. So like there are like married couple friends or whatever. He also likes the Chargers. He's from San Diego, and we'll talk about sports. I invited him to play fantasy football with us. He's nice, and he's like, hey, come on over Sunday, watch the game. I was like, okay. So I went over Sunday morning. So far we'd been on a roll. We were 4-1, doing really good. I don't know, sitting there watching the game with Matt. Our team's getting fucking worked, obliterated, not by none other than the fucking Baltimore Ravens, which as of this year,
come on, Ravens, you gotta give your teams breaks.
Is Beliza's? That's her team. She's decided she's playing fantasy football this year with Brad, and she also decided to pick a team to root for. And since she has no loyalties to anybody, she picked the Ravens because purple, cool name, Edgar Allan Poe. You know,
yeah, I'm with it.
So I talked shit. I was like, oh, I can't wait for my Chargers to beat your Ravens, and that didn't happen. They're getting worked. The most, I guess, disappointing part, a humiliating part about the thing is that they were getting beat so bad. They weren't scoreless. They scored a touchdown, but there was like 30-something to 6, you know? And there was like 14 minutes left in the game, maybe 13 minutes left in the game. The game was so one-sided that the network station, the people who are casting the game, decided to switch to a different game. So I'm watching the Chargers and Ravens game. There's 14 minutes left in the thing, and they go, all right, we're going to switch you over to a different game that's more competitive. And they showed us the Chiefs playing some other team. And I was just like, what? Like, I came here to watch the Chargers and the Ravens. I want to sit here and watch it all the way through and see them lose. They're like, no. They're doing so bad. This is so fucking boring. We're going to put a different game on for you. So I'm not just sitting there in Matt's house being like, well, I came for the Chargers and Ravens game, and I'll just wait for it to be over and then go home. Even though we're not watching it anymore. That was so disappointing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
It was funny.
I didn't know they did that shit.
I mean, I've known that they did that before, but they usually do it when there's like 2 minutes left in a game, or like there's like overtime starts in another game because like this game is about to end. They go, oh cool, we'll just switch you over to this other game that's still going on, and there's no longer a conflict between you watching that game. But this game still had a shit ton of time left, but because of how much time was left, like it's impossible for them to catch up. Like,
imagine being on that losing team, and then the next day you find out
the
network switched way the fuck earlier than they've ever done.
Like at halftime, they're like, "Fuck it, it's not even worth it. We're getting out of here."
This isn't doing it.
So yeah, that was embarrassing to say the least for them. And then in fantasy, I was close. I almost won. If one of my players would have caught a touchdown on Monday Night Football, I probably would have won by like a couple points, but I didn't. So now I am 2-4, and I am still in 9th place because Adrian only has 1 win, and I beat him, so my record's better than his. Adrian's having a bad time, dude. But I'm having a better time.
You guys are both having pretty rough goes.
Yeah. Brian's also, he has the same record as I do, but he's in 8th place. But he beat me, so he's above me. I was like,
man.
fucker,
rascal.
Yeah, that's a son of a bitch. See what else has happened. I don't know, man. I mean, there's probably something else that happened this week that's like, oh man, that was super cool or fun.
It's okay. You could be mellow sometimes.
Don't remember. Don't
fine.
Care. That's it, dude. That's
just animating and just doing some footballs.
Doing some work stuff too. We gotta get new menus for the restaurant, and I had to go meet the graphic design guy because my sister's been trying to get a hold of him, but like has like a sign up, it's like, hey, come in by appointment only. But I've gone up to him and just walked in, and he's totally cool. And he's very very eccentric, very animated, very like the way he talks. So I emailed him last week. He's like, hey man, is it cool if I come in and we can talk about what I need to get done? I need it done by November 1st. And he's just like, yeah man, come on in on Monday. I was like, okay, cool. Does noon work for you? And he goes like, sure. Just, let me know. Call me before you come over. I was like, okay. So I call him around like 11 on Monday. I was like, hey man, no, it was Tuesday. Come in Tuesday. So come and call him at 11. Hey man, just calling you. You told me to give you a heads up before I was gonna come over. Still planning on coming over at noon.
Hey, yeah, like the plan.
I was like, yeah, like I was like, if for whatever reason you're not there or like need to reschedule, it's cool. Just let me know and we can reschedule.
No, it's all good. I'll come over at noon.
Nothing. He didn't say anything. And I was like,
okay.
and I'll go,
wow,
because it was voicemail. So I go, okay, well, I guess I'll still just go over at noon. So I go over at noon. His lights are off. The open sign's closed. A couple of people went up to the door while I was like getting out of my car, and they went to the front door, and then they came back. I'm like, oh shit, maybe it's locked or whatever. And I was like, okay, so I figured might as well try. So I go and pull the door. The door's open. I was like, but I also don't want to step in. So I call him. He goes like, hello, Jeff. I was like, oh hey man, Juan Gordo Burrito calling because we had that thing at noon. He's like, oh yeah, come on in, dude, come on in. I was like, okay, come on in, sit down, and he's just like, boom, starts going, dude. He's like, yeah, dude, fucking food this, food that. Look at all these olives and oysters. And he's like, dude, fucking taxes, bro. I had this dump trailer that like you pivots up and dumps all the shit out the back. I said, well, I haven't paid my accountant in years to do my taxes. Yeah, what are we doing? What are we getting done? Like, it's like that, like a hurricane, and then boom, straight into business. And I go, oh, need these things done. He's like, okay. And then he starts like looking things up, and then boom, back in it, like hurricane again. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's nuts.
Sometimes people just get a little bit crazy,
yeah,
a little bit enthusiastic about their lives, and then they realize, oh shit, hang on, we got to do. You
got to do business. And I was like,
all
right, let's get to business. Eventually, he's like, we talk about what I want. I'm gonna have to come back in again. He gave me like a piece of paper with like our previous menus, like so I can like edit stuff and tell him what I'm thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
Got to come back, and I was like, all right, man. Like, I was like, thanks for seeing me. And I was like, hey, by the way, like a couple customers came in earlier, like when I pulled up, and I think they saw that your sign was turned off and the door was, I guess, and the lights were off, so they just kind of went away. He goes like, good, that's what I want. He's like, I do that on purpose sometimes. So like, it's like that way I don't get people coming in here being like, oh, I want a sticker or I want a hat, like that way, like people, if they're serious, they'll call me and get things going. I'm like, that's an interesting way to do business. It's like, it also avoids foot traffic, and if he doesn't want to see people who have COVID or something like that, like that's not a bad idea. His sign that is put up says like for like health reasons, like please call ahead of time. But I guess it's more just like he doesn't want to deal with people.
I support it.
Yeah, I was like, cool, man. That's
fuck it.
That's how you want to run your business.
I don't want to deal with people either. And if I'm able to still run my business successfully without having to deal with a bunch of assholes who don't care about my time, sure.
He goes, I need to sell those guys stickers. Like, it's like Hulu's just ordered this many T-shirts. I'm like, oh, dude, congratulations. He's like, yeah, man, it's gonna be fucking crazy. He's like, all right, I'm following you out. I'm gonna go get lunch. He's just like, he locks up behind me. He goes get lunch. I'm like, this guy is so weird. Like, good guy though. I mean,
that's funny.
He's
oh man,
he's gonna be able to help me out and get the thing done. That was the work. Talking out is boring, but that's it, man. That's all I've done this week.
Chill.
What about you? What have you been up to, my boogly bear?
Mostly just like gamer shit. You
gamer now?
Yeah, I've been known to game. I played some Left 4 or
no, you didn't play
Back 4 Blood. I played Back 4 Blood with the boys, and it has changed a bit. It's interesting, and I like it. It's still just as challenging. You're getting a Left 4 Dead experience of shooting zombies with your boys, but at the same time, it's also a lot more challenging, and I think it's more fun, personally. This is just, as somebody who's played video games for my whole life, I feel like we've had enough of what Left 4 Dead did, and now Back 4 Blood's doing a polished version of that, which I think that's kind of what we're in for. It's fun. So nothing substantial, but I do think it's important that that I'm a hardcore gamer and I play video games that shoot and have blood, and not just
it's fun puffy stuff where you jump and shoot.
Yeah, not just rad stuff where I do puffy stuff. Exactly. But I've been playing just a shitload of Final Fantasy XIV still, getting way into the story and having a fantastic, fun blast while doing it. I powered through, and now I'm on the last expansion that is currently out. So I have a month before the new one comes out.
Okay, cool, nice.
I have the time to do it. I'm feeling pretty solid about that. So just a small update with that. But this week, I went to my good friend Emily's wedding. It was more of a vow renewal situation. That happened on Saturday. It was originally supposed to be on Halloween a couple years ago, but a lot of things happened and it didn't wind up working out. So.
Are these big Halloween guys? Or just...
I mean, Halloween's cool.
I'm saying, like, you know, like, I feel like most people would avoid, like, a holiday.
Halloween's cool.
Okay.
Whatever. But it wound up being on October 16th instead.
And that is not Halloween.
Not Halloween, it turns out. So I went there, and it was a wedding where I didn't really know many people outside of the bride and groom.
Right.
And one person who used to work with me. He's my old maintenance buddy, Wyatt. So he was there, and I was able to talk to him, and he's like, I don't know anyone here. I'm like, cool, then we could stick together and have an okay time until the whole like wedding bullshit's done, and then we could get together with your fiance and Emily and all of their friends that Emily so desperately wants me to meet. So I met some people, but mostly I hung out with Wyatt and his fiance. Mm-hmm. And then his fiance disappeared.
Did his fiance not go to the ceremony?
Oh, she was part of the wedding.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was involved.
I was interested. He's like, I'm not going to the fucking ceremony, but I'll be there for the reception.
Thank you. Yeah. No, she was a bridesmaid. Okay. So she was involved. She was busy. And then once we were eating, they were at a different table than we were, but we were right next to them, so we could still like mingle and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then his fiance disappeared, and we saw her talking to the owner of the venue. And he's like just this older dude, and he's just standing there talking to her, and we're like, all right, cool. Hey, does this happen often, Wyatt? Oh, yeah, she usually gets caught out by somebody who owns the place or like whatever at parties and weddings and stuff like that. I don't know how, but they always seek her out and find her or whatever. I'm like, what? And he's like, well, she normally feels like kind of bad for these people like at places like this.
So she goes and befriends them?
Well, if they try to strike up a conversation, she knows like, oh, this person probably gets shut down out of conversation a lot, so she doesn't want to do that. Anyways, it had been like 30 minutes, and then people started coming up to Wyatt, and they're like, hey, you should watch out for your fiance over there. The owner looks like they're putting on some moves. But, of course, the age gap is like 30 to 40 years.
So Wyatt doesn't have a fucking chance.
So Wyatt's just like chilling. He's not worried about it. There's nothing to worry about anyways. But people kept coming up to him and being like, hey. And then it was like an hour and they were still standing there talking. Yeah, an hour. I know. I fucking know. And I'm watching her and I'm trying to make eye contact so I could be like, do you need help? Like, he's not going to do it. I could get you out of the conversation.
Yeah, your fiance's not going to save you.
Rachel, what are you doing? And then a little bit later, they walk into the house and don't come. Yeah, exactly.
What?
And then so they walk into the fucking house, and I'm thinking, okay, this dude's got to know that a person in the wedding party would be somewhere else if, you know, they got what they preferred. Instead, she's talking to this fucking dude. Like, what do you think? Whoa. It's so weird. So she's talking to him. They're having a chill time. They're just talking. And the lights are on, and we could see inside of the house and see them all sitting inside, sitting on the couch and like in their chairs and stuff. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is happening?
Why it's just like eating food? It's like, this is really good fucking tri-tip.
So Emily's dad's coming over, and he's just like, hey, if the lights go off and you see a hand smash on the window there and slide down, just know that we're all expecting it. You know, kept making little jokes at Wyatt's expense.
Did Wyatt
And then he's
care?
like, hey, maybe you two should get together.
Maybe you guys should fuck.
You know, while they're in there, you guys can go and do that.
That was the joke they made?
About me and Wyatt?
Yeah. That's interesting. There's like, you guys should hook up.
And I was like, no. She's getting revenge because we already did.
Oh, good.
Know, it's fun banter, super fun family, fun everything, right? But it was just like, what the fuck's going on? After like another hour, I'm not exaggerating. After another hour, the music's been going. It's been a whole fucking thing. People have been dancing, but I've been just staring at this window, like, what the fuck's going on? Every like 10 minutes or so, being like, what, are you worried at all? Like, her phone is outside here.
She can't ask for help. Yeah.
And then she's still in there, and the lights go off. And I'm like, what's happening now? Don't know why the lights went off. She didn't seem to explain it, so I didn't care. But yeah, the lights were off for a while longer. And then I saw somebody coming back from outside of the house, and I was like, "Oh, hey, it's all. Oh, never mind. Another girl. Where'd she come from?" It was just somebody else coming from the same direction, and then it was the owner's wife came out, and they were still in there. Rachel and the owner were still in there. And then eventually they did all come out. And it had been like 3 hours at this point. Not kidding. So I go up to her with Wyatt. Wyatt doesn't want to ask for whatever reason, but I'm like, where the fuck have you been? Is it good? What, did you try to leave? I was trying to give you like a signal that I could help you out if you need. And she was like, yeah, well, he just wanted to like show me some stuff inside. And he just kept talking, and he just wanted to show me some plants that he had inside.
For 3 hours.
And I kept trying to get up and leave and saying, well, I should probably get back, and like tried to stand up a few times, and they kept interrupting me, and I couldn't go.
Then he would hold her down like, no, you're not leaving yet.
Right? And this is something that like nobody noticed too. It wasn't just Emily's dad. It was like everybody came up and said something
hey, what's going
about
on
it.
over here? Yeah.
Because what the fuck? And when she came out, it was like, what the fuck? And she was like, I don't know. I tried to leave it, but you know. This is your friend's wedding. Don't you want to like...
What was Wyatt doing there?
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, Rachel. This is your responsibility. Like, I used to manage her apartment, and that's as far as our relationship goes. So...
That's so crazy to me, dude.
Yeah, fucking weird. Anyways, that all worked out. It was all good. And meanwhile, while that was all going on, I also got to have a fun... I think it was like 20 minutes, but it might have been less. So I'll say it was a 10-minute conversation with Emily's sister talking about when she hooked up with a guy with the micro penis.
Nice.
Yeah. And she really, really wanted to keep talking about it again and again.
And you look at her like, look, lady, I don't got what you're looking for. Get out of here.
I just kept being like, yeah, no, he probably should have told you about that before you guys got intimate. Yeah, probably. And we knew each other and been talking for a year beforehand. Yeah, if it's a year, that's pretty fucked up.
How do you bring that up? Like, hey, man, it's been a year. I have a tiny dick.
If you're going to hook up, then be like, hey, just a heads up so you're not surprised. Because I know. Yeah. Because she had to be like, do you need like a minute or something?
Is it like get bigger?
Yeah. So she had to ask the awkward questions instead of him just saying what was going on. And she then, after explaining her whole experience, which was a blast, let me just tell you, then she was like, yeah. And then the next day I realized he should have probably fucking told me that. And that's why I felt so weird the whole time. It's just because he didn't want to be honest with it, and that just killed it all. Because I don't care how small the dude's tiny penis is. Again and again, it was just like, yeah, no, he probably should have been more honest with you there. It was so, yeah, people so have small penises sometimes, man. Just like, I don't know what to fucking say. You're like, kept going.
You're like, do you mind? I'm actually watching another show.
She got closer and closer because she was drunk.
Yeah, for sure.
Clearly. But she kept getting closer and closer and telling me more and more. And Emily has been waiting for us to meet each other for so long. She's like, you're going to love my sister.
Do you love her?
She's fucking great. Yeah. She's crazy, chaotic. But she would be fun to text, I think. We have pretty similar senses of humor. Emily sends a lot of the things that I send to Emily to her sister and vice versa.
That's really funny, though.
So this whole thing was just like, bro, what's happening? But she gave us a recommendation. Belladonna of Sadness. It's an anime from the 70s.
That's an interesting thing there. He's like, so let's talk about this micro dick.
Hang on. We're not done.
By the way, here's some anime.
You think we're fucking done here,
There's
Juan?
more?
You think we're goddamn done?
Is the anime
it's
about
really
micro
psychedelic,
dicks?
and there are these fairies that are penises.
Oh my god.
So we're watching it. It's the thing. Whether or not we review it is a different story.
Like we have to.
No, we'll get around to it. Put
is
that
it
in the back
or
burner.
show?
It's a movie. Yeah, it's from like the 70s and old school, I guess, is what she said. So I'm like, okay, I trust you. Belladonna of Sadness. Watch Paprika. Have fun. Because she's like, I like surreal shit. And I'm like, hey, have fun with Paprika if you want to watch something not as, dick psychedelic, but funky.
It's like, no, that's funny. The whole, being stuck in one of those like tough conversations and wanting to leave kind of thing. Every time I think,
I didn't want to leave.
No, not you. I'm talking about
Rachel's
the other girl. Yeah, where she's just like trying to get away. You know, I remember in high school, Ryan had a girlfriend, and I don't know why.
Calling her out.
Ryan had plenty of girlfriends. I'm not saying which one, but I'll tell you later.
Yeah, no, I know which one.
Yeah, he had a girlfriend, and
I don't know which one.
Ryan had left, and she was just, I guess we were just after school hanging out for a bit, and she's like, hey, what's up? Nothing's like, oh, she's like, my friend is going to break up with her boyfriend. And like, it was from across the field, you know? I was like, and I'm here to keep an eye on them and make sure like it all goes well. And if like she feels uncomfortable, I'm going to go and step in and like, you know, remove situation. I'm like, oh, cool. That makes sense. So I was like, I was like, do you mind if I hang out and like watch?
Can I watch?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, is it cool? Like, it's like, yeah. It's like, you can stick around. Like, she's like, I can even maybe use you. Like, you know, we can both go or whatever. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, I don't mind. I'm not doing anything. So like, I'm sitting there, and I'm standing there like watching, and they're talking, and like they're like, you know, back and forth conversation. It all seems really like, civil and cordial. I'm just like, and I was like,
and they each pull out guns.
No, I remember him saying like, when are you gonna know if she wants you to come over? Like, you got like a sign or something, like, you know, like a wave or like a hand gesture. She's like, no, I'll be able to tell by like her body language and her like gestures and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, cool. And I was like, that's okay. And again, I don't know, maybe like
whatever,
15, 16, like I don't know about this, like maybe. And she's just like, yeah, so like right now you can tell. And she starts like dissecting the way she's standing, like the way her arms are like crossed, or the way her chest is pointing, and the way her feet is like, and she's saying all this stuff like, okay, cool, okay. And I just keep watching this happen for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then finally they just go their separate ways, and she comes back, and her friend goes, what the fuck? She's like, you just left me there. She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I was like, I wanted you to come over like so many times. Like, he was making it so uncomfortable. Like, she's like, oh, I didn't read that or anything. And I was like, maybe you should have come up with a sign or something, you know?
Maybe some kind of a signal.
Like a signal or something.
Yeah, there are lots of signels that people use for safety.
But yeah, I was just like, especially with your friend, you should be like, hey, like a little hand wave. But she's like, no, I got this. I'll be able to tell mentally, telepathically, fucking Sherlock Holmes. I was like,
you always got to get them. Get the old thumb and index under the leg. You're good to go.
I thought that was so, like, I remember like it was shitty that she felt uncomfortable, but she didn't.
But you're there. And
she didn't break up with him.
You guys have a plan? No, we don't have a plan, but we don't need a plan.
I just really enjoyed the how smug she was about everything, and then for it to be like, you got called out for being a shit friend, and then you go, and I was like, she's not as smart as she thinks. I was like, you could tell by her body language. Like, I don't know anything about body language. I'm fucking. This is entertaining. So I think that reminds me of maybe like that's why I think like Wyatt just like eating his food, just like, oh whatever, like just like, no, but and you're just like trying to make eye contact, like, hey, like look at me, like if you want it out, look at me, you know, give me a blink or a nod or something, and I'll go help you, you know, like, and he's just like, you know, zoning out. I love the song. It's a good song, you know, shit like that.
Such a good song. But yeah, the wedding was beautiful. It was a lot of fun. The food was delicious. There were those two wild situations, and then we ended the night with about 30 minutes. I would say it's more, but again, I'm trying to be generous here. 30 minutes of the same girl, Emily's sister, drunken on Emily's husband, going, if you do anything to her, I swear to God, I'm going to beat your fucking ass.
Beat your dick off.
30 minutes, holding him to stand up, telling him this aggressively. And the whole time he's like, Megan, you know
We've been married,
like, there's nothing to worry about. Don't worry. I'm not kicking Emily's ass. I'm just, you know, we're just married. It's okay. There's nothing to worry about. I'm still just Justin.
Is she younger sister?
No, older sister.
Okay.
But she's 30, so she's like my age.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to imagine somebody like me getting intoxicated and being
like,
never kick anyone's ass except for your own, you know, just like
it's really hard because I can't imagine you with your stature, me holding you up, being like, God damn it, like you'd crush me.
Yeah, hopefully. Anyways,
so now I imagine her being giant.
Thank you. Yeah, she's not that. She's smaller than me by a lot. She was smaller than Justin by a lot. And Justin's a pretty small.
It would make sense though if she was a very large person, right? And it's just like that's why the dick was so small. Like it was a normal sized dick, but she was huge.
She was huge. She was like 20 feet.
Yeah, okay. We both went different. We shot for different numbers.
You were like realistic but fake.
Yeah,
and then very realistic. Anyways, yeah, that whole situation was wild. Went on for like 30 minutes, and everyone was just like,
at the end of the night, so no music.
Their family, we're done. Yeah, no music. It was all wrapped up, you know, and we were all trying to hustle on out of there. And she just kept staying on him until they were like, all right, well, we got to get going. And she decided that she was okay at walking herself, even though she's been using him as a support for 30 minutes. Yeah. And yeah, then I don't remember what happened. I think she might have pushed herself off, taken a few steps, and then absolutely ate shit, man. Her dress went flying up. She wasn't wearing underwear. It was one of those situations where she was just there to party, and she fucking partied. And then, yeah, you know, it's all good. That all happened. It was wild. Her husband just like picks her up, cleans her up a little bit, and they get going. But yeah, when that happened, I was just like, all right, so what you guys didn't see is that her dress went flying all the way. And then they were like, we saw. And I'm like, you didn't. Why would you not react at all?
That's
like,
family. That's how she is.
Yeah. And then Rachel's like, yeah, I was actually at another wedding with her, and we were in the limo, and there was a guy. I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been the best man or something like that. But he just starts fucking fingering her in the middle of the limo where everyone else is.
What?
Yeah, and they're going at it, right? And my reaction is, how do you do that in front of other people and think that's okay?
At least you're drunk, I guess.
But she's in an open relationship. It's like, whatever, they're okay as long as they talk about it. It doesn't matter.
Does that still allow you to be like a sex pest?
So that's where it comes down to, where I didn't care about the whole open relationship thing, but it might as well be addressed since we're here. But I was just like, in front of all of these people, just bothering them with that, man. Like, people aren't going to be just cool for your weird kinks and fetishes. Like, what the fuck? But
don't want to yuck anyone's yum.
No. I'm totally down with yucking that yum. That's a very consensual type thing. Otherwise, that's considered like public indecency, right?
Bro,
like,
it's a wedding. They're celebrating love.
Yeah, but they're on the road. Like, they're
celebrating road love.
They're not in a prison cell where I would be doing all of my sexual acts.
That's interesting.
But yeah, no, it was just such a fucking bizarre thing. I'm like, what is this person? She talked about a micro penis forever. She recommended a bizarre ass fucking weird anime. She said her favorite artist is Megan Thee Stallion, which is the first thing that she said to me because her name's Megan. So it was like, Megan. You know, I'm a big fan of Megan Thee Stallion too. And I'm just like,
her music sucks.
Just, whoa, gets me through the weekend, man. I need that body. Yada, 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 yada. If I don't have that going on, I'm going insane. It's true.
I think I talked to a friend who got into a discussion about, like, he's like, yeah, I'm so sick of this Megan Thee Stallion chick. I was like, why? Not that I hate her. I'm just like, meh, her music's not for me or whatever. He's like, it's just fucking gross, dude. Like, she's just talking about how, like, her wet her pussy is.
Dude,
and, like,
who isn't?
And he's
I'm talking about how wet my pussy
is. How bad she wants dick. And I'm just like,
talking about how bad I want dick.
I go,
come
like,
on, man.
Isn't the rap songs you listen to the exact same thing just from a guy's perspective?
Opposite, yeah.
He's just like, yeah, it's just different though. Like,
no,
I'm like,
man,
no, fuck you, dude. It's like we got
bro.
so much time of guys letting do it, and people like, this is rap music, and a chick wants to. She's doing the same things, the same formula. He's just like, I just don't fuck with it. It's like, cool. I don't like it. I don't listen to it either.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I'm not saying the reason I don't like it is because I think it's, you know, too over sexualized and graphic. It's like, you should fucking listen to this shit from way before this, you know?
Oh, man. Instagram podcast, we definitely support Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, damn it.
No, do you know why?
Why?
She's a big anime fan. She's a proprietor of anime. She's spreading the good word, baby.
She likes Black Clover, though. Black Clover's garbage.
She does like Black Clover, though. She has like a bunch of anime merch and shit.
Yeah,
though.
she's an anime
like,
fan. Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Whenever there's artists that a lot of the youngins like, go for it.
Denzel Curry likes anime. I like him a lot. He's a rapper.
Yeah. Does Lizzo like anime? If Lizzo does, Lizzo's like just fucking
I couldn't tell you,
it, dude.
I know that Samuel Jackson likes anime.
And hentai, yeah. you know the interview.
Yeah,
we all know the interview. We all jerked off to the interview. But yeah, it's definitely a weird wedding experience, but I had so much fun.
2 questions about the wedding. What was for dinner?
Dinner was chicken, brisket, salad, fruit salad, macaroni, rolls, and green beans.
Okay.
It was like a lot of good shit.
It's not bad, yeah. Second one, open bar.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They ran out of beer at the end of the night.
Happens,
it was like,
dude.
No, it was
Happens,
like,
dude.
No, it was perfect is what I'm saying.
Happens.
It was like 20 minutes until last call, and I still hadn't gotten anything to drink.
And you're like, guess I'm not.
No, so I went up and I was like, could I get You have any Modelo?
Yeah.
She's like, this is the last one. I just pulled it out. It's sitting on the counter. I'm like, I'll have it then.
Nice,
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I got, but I thought you would appreciate that. The only drink that I had was a Modelo.
Even like my sister's wedding, it was just like, I had a few drinks and then I go and like, I'll have a Modelo. And he's like, we're out.
I know.
I was like, what else you got? I got Heineken. I was like, I guess I'll drink a Heineken. And then I came back like, I'll have a Heineken. We're out. Fucking White Claw, I guess. Give me a few of them. Like, I had like 4 of them. Like, okay. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, no, it was chill. The last thing that I know you wish you could have asked, but you didn't think of it.
DJ?
No.
Oh.
Weed.
Why would I care? Was there weed?
No, of course not.
Oh.
But they did specifically tell Emily no marijuana, because if we allow that, then what's next? Meth?
They said it like that?
So the whole wedding, I kept going up to Emily, reaching into my pocket, 2 fingers, and pulling out nothing, and being like, "You want any? You need any?" She's like, "Nah, dude, I've had too much meth. It's all good."
Damn, that is how it goes. Though it's beer, weed, meth.
Yeah. Slippery slope.
Vaping is somewhere in there. Like, I don't.
It doesn't really exist, honestly. Not out in the country, where we were. They don't have them mechanical smoking devices.
It's called a gateway drug for a reason. So
yeah, I just thought that was fucking hilarious. Like, I was just making a little joke, and then Emily's like, "Actually, they told me this," and I was like, "No fucking way!" So then I just kept making the same joke all night.
That's funny.
You got a good one. It was a good wedding though.
Good. I'm glad you had a good wedding.
Yeah, it was.
Glad you had a
fun.
good time. Yeah,
I had to encourage. You know how not my favorite part of the wedding whenever
Speeches.
Let's
try to guess.
Good guess. I love the speeches because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Not a fan of speeches.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's fucking awful and embarrassing and just like, ooh, I don't want to be here for all of this. Sometimes just boring and whatever. Sometimes it's too sentimental. Other times it's really good. Other times you laugh, you cry, whatever.
Yeah.
For this situation, it's the bouquet toss.
Oh, I didn't fan of bouquet toss.
No. I don't like those because there's always people that don't want to go up, which is fine. That's on their own. They don't
get up there. Yeah.
That's the fucking thing that I hate, is that people always do that. And I don't really care. I just don't see a point in it, because it's like,
you're not supposed to go up there.
Not for that.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm just saying, like, if they were pushing you up there, you're like, yeah, I'd be upset too.
No, they were pushing other people that don't want to go, so I was already upset. And then it wasn't Emily and Justin. I want to be clear. It was other people just encouraging, whatever.
That's weddings, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So then same thing happens with the guys. We're about to take that thing off the leg.
The garter.
Yeah, the thing off the leg and throw it at a man. And as a single guy, I know my responsibility is to try to get the other people up there that don't want to go up there, which is Wyatt, who is currently engaged and getting married in like 4 weeks.
But he's still technically not married.
But he's not married, which is the thing that, like, so many people there are like, oh, I'm in relationships, whatever. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Nobody gives a shit for some reason. They're like, you're a bachelor. You don't mean anything until you're married. Fuck you, is the way that, some people treat it. So he was pretty much feeling that way. Like, we're getting married. What the hell? And I'm like, look, man, I'm with you on this. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever done. You just have to come up. You just have to do it. Otherwise, people are going to make it way worse for you. Mm-hmm. And I tried to have that like real, like, look, man, we're in this together.
You and me, bro.
But he wasn't having that. And I'm like, just get up there. It's going to be over in a second. And then it was over in a fucking second. It was just, boo, and we're done. And I'm like, was that bad? Was that too bad? So for everyone out there that doesn't want to go up, who gives a shit? It's not about you. It's about the weirdos that want to watch you catch something that was on a woman's leg. It's about the weirdos who want to go, ha. No, I didn't catch it. I was at the edge. Of course not. I'm a smart man. I don't want to catch something that's been on my friend's thigh.
I don't want to get married next.
It's fucking weird. She's been out there dancing, I don't want to. Okay. Anyway. I just thought it was so funny. Like, I had to be that person, even though I fucking hate it. You know me. I hate anything where it's a bunch of strangers and they're all going to stare at you and they don't know who you are. If people know who I am, I'm so much more comfortable getting up in front of like a classroom or whatever. It's like, these are my classmates. We all have to do this. It's just, whatever. But when I'm there in front of those people, all these strangers, and they're like being weird about shit, I don't want to be that guy. I'm the one convincing people now because I'm like, look, I'm you. It's easier if we just do this shit.
I'm you from the future, please.
Yeah. Essentially. Meanwhile, everyone else is like, you gotta. I'm like, no. We're not laughing here.
I caught one of those. It's not that bad.
We're warriors. We go up there. We just do it. Yeah, it's weird how much people care about those things, though. I think that they're stupid. So.
I think at my friend Kenny's wedding, like we all went up there. We didn't make a fuss of it. But like, let's get up there, or whatever. And then all the guys besides me, they all stepped way back, and they just let me be the only one to catch it. Like, okay, well here it is, or whatever. I was the only one in a relationship, so they all thought it was hilarious. Like,
well, that's kind of the deal.
Sierra also went up there with all the girls. The girls were a lot more aggressive. They're
Some girls
throwing
are
bows and shit.
See, people get really into it. Mostly the women get really into catching the bow, or bouquet.
Yeah.
Bow. What the fuck? Anyways, I get that though, because you also get flowers.
Yeah, flowers.
It's pretty dope.
It's nice.
I don't want a piece of clothes that I'm not going to wear often. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I wore it all the time.
Yeah, you do all the time, but just like Fridays.
We're in it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna. That's good. That good wedding. I'm glad you had a good time.
It was a wild time. Lots of things happened that I didn't expect.
Are you done with what you've been up to?
If you want me to be.
Cool. I just want to mention a quick shout out. Fucking a baby was born. Fucking shout outs to Kate and Abe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout outs to Kate and Abe. They have a secret baby. They didn't want to tell anyone when it was born.
It was born.
Yeah, it was born. But when I say that, I mean, when it happened, they weren't going to go out of their way to let everyone know.
They didn't tell. They didn't like post it. Like it's happening. No.
When they were ready, they posted pictures and they were like, "This is a child."
Yeah, it's nice.
That's the way to do it, man. Way to have a kid and also not like die. That's a big up.
Yeah, big ups, big baby. 8 pounds, bro. Mm-hmm. So that baby's up there. Mm-hmm. Pretty long. I don't remember how long it was, but inches. Pretty long inches.
28.
Fucking, and he's got a vert and a mustache already. So
yeah, exactly.
He's been drafted by the fucking Detroit Pistons next
season.
It's got
a dorsal fin.
Yeah.
It's got hooves.
For people who want to know, I did play a game where they were trying to guess his name. I didn't tell him what it was. I did text Sierra. My guess was Killian. It was not. I was wrong.
It was not.
But it's okay. It was just for funsies. And I'm not going to say their name because it's none of my business. When Kate comes, she can decide whether to talk about her kid's name.
Yeah, well, I was talking with Abe beforehand. Somebody was like, "Oh, did you guys decide on a name?" He's like, "I would tell you guys, but Kate wants to keep it secret."
Yeah.
So and then Tom was talking about how he just got a new puppy.
He did. Yeah.
And it already had a name because it's like a year old.
It was like a rescue, right?
Yeah, it was a rescue, and the name was Beepo.
Beepo. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a bad name for a dog.
It's a bad name. And then we started joking around. We're like, Abe, you naming your kid Beepo? Stuff like that. And then we shifted over to Creepo. Yeah. So I'm just going to call their kid Creepo. And we've agreed on it. And it's all good.
Oh, they're okay with it.
Shout outs to their little baby boy Creepo.
I refuse to shout them out that way.
I refuse to shout them out any other way. So shout outs to Creepo. There was only one more thing that I just specifically wanted to tell you and anyone who likes entertainment about. So there's this new little kind of like role-playing series that Funhouse is doing, and it's Revenge at Camp Kiki Mama. Essentially, it's a role-playing scenario where it's a horror setting, like an 80s horror setting. So you have some like zany-ass characters that are a part of it.
The virgin, the nerd, the double virgin.
The crotchety old man who owns the camp.
Nice, good one.
The groundskeeper.
Oh, is there a lunch lady?
No, there are four. There are four people.
Okay.
The guy who lives in an RV that's like next to the camp.
So none of them are actual campers. People.
And one of the camp counselors.
Yeah, okay. I was
there you go.
Oh, damn
who's the jock of the group and Christian. It's very important.
Of course, yeah.
Both. And the way that they're playing, instead of having like dice or anything, they have a big Jenga tower, and anything that a character has to do that seems like they would have to try to do it and like might fail, go and pull one from the tower. And if the tower falls, something bad happens. Usually it results in your death. Based on the situation. You can also sacrifice yourself and completely take out a tower at any point, and you will achieve what you want to achieve, and you'll sacrifice yourself for it.
How many towers they got up?
One, but then every time it falls, they remake it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if it's an especially difficult task, they'll have they have to pull 2. If they're injured, they'll incur a penalty and have to pull 2 for
Just
at least
gets harder
a turn.
and harder, right?
Yeah, for different things. Yeah, so it gets harder and harder until a character's gonna have to fuck up and something bad happens. But I have been enjoying it so much more than I expected. I went into it this is going to be, because they've played a lot of different board games and stuff where they do try to take on the roles of their characters, but they're board games, so there's only so much you could do. With this, the dude who set it up, Armando, he's an amazing DM. He's just telling a story as it all goes on. They have these crazy as fuck characters that somehow work really well in this setting. And Armando adds a lot to it, letting them do certain things. The groundskeeper has an old dog, an old mutt that's with them. And at this point, it's kind of like a stupider, can't do anything Scooby-Doo. But it'll be this situation's going on, dog. And dog will be like, stuff like that. It's just very stupid, very goofy. But at the same time, such a well done game for anybody that's looking for something that can expand your kind of general role playing knowledge. This is a very different kind of experience that I haven't seen, where everybody's really having a good time. Even if, something bad's going on, they're still able to have a lot of fun based off of their characters and the way that Armando is treating things. So while it is a clear, this is an 80s horror flick slasher situation, at the same time, it's also kind of just as long as you're having fun and doing whatever, we're going to have a good time.
Okay.
And maybe people are going to make it out, but we did have a character death already. It was exciting. In the second episode, they're hour-long episodes. And we've got 2 episodes so far. Highly recommend it. Funhouse, Camp Kiki Mama. Definitely check that shit out. It was so much better than I expected.
YouTube.
Okay. YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good shit.
That does sound kind of fun.
10 out of 10. I would say that's the highlights of what's been up.
Your week, yeah.
Yeah.
That wedding's pretty dope.
Dude, the wedding was a lot of fun. But definitely some funny things that were worth talking about.
Next up, we used to talk about anime, but have you been watching? You don't think you've been watching any anime, right? That isn't...
Calling me out.
I haven't either. I'm just saying.
Fucking calling me. No, I've been watching anime.
Did you
son of a bitch.
What'd you watch?
Aquatope on White Sand.
Oh, it's still going.
Yeah, it's still going. Remember,
Okay.
it was the whole it's going to shut down.
How is
and
it?
now they're all working at another aquarium, and they're having a hard time because of different reasons. And we just got to the point where the characters are starting to find their kind of flow in their new situation. But it's just been a bummer. I love it. It's beautiful. It's a bummer. And there's a lot of penguins and aquatic life that I'm into. The latest episode that I watched was about sea slugs and the whole issue. They treated it super realistic, which I loved, to where the director of the old aquarium is now the a marketing person. So she's on the marketing team, and she came up with all these new ideas for possible exhibits and stuff. They were let's go with the sea slug one. So logistically, they needed to get at least 8 sea slugs in order for this to work based off of the marketing person's whole thing, whatever. So they got all these sea slugs. They found a nice area, but the problem with sea slugs is that there isn't a lot of consistent information about them, which is one of the things that they wanted to show off at this exhibit is hey, check these guys out. Nobody really pays attention. And if you've seen sea slugs, they're gorgeous. They're fucking cool. Yeah. I love it. Whenever I get to see them at a tide pool out in the wild, it's holy shit, look at that. It's right here. But yeah, in this anime, they went somewhere and it was oh yeah, lots of sea slugs over here. And there were just fucking tons in these tide pools. And I'm thinking, why isn't this completely covered with people? I would be there every weekend.
Just watching the slugs.
Are you kidding me? Oh. Bring a new person. You've been to the slug zone, dude. So anyways, they get this whole thing going. But one of the issues is that they don't know what sea slugs eat, the different kinds of sea slugs, because they all eat different shit. They eat specific sponges, specific mosses, they eat specific algae, just stuff that they're not aware of. So they're trying all these different things, but they're having issues with one of the slugs. They're not, one of the species isn't eating anything that they keep putting in there. So they keep trying. And the marketing director is just all right, so you're just gonna have to put them in there, and if they don't eat, they don't eat, and when they're dead, they're done. They'll live long enough for this exhibit. So it was like a holy shit, these people don't care about this, and that's how it would work in like a big commercial place. They would just be like, can we make this work? This will get more people here. This is a little thing. And then that was the marketing director's take on it. They went and they talked to another person who takes care of the aquariums, the little exhibits and whatnot. And she was like, hey, if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. So, of course, our character is super pissed off, and she goes, what the fuck, dude? Like, you don't care about their lives. Why doesn't anyone give a fuck? And she's like, we're not here to care about their lives. We're literally putting them in prisons here.
Yeah.
Like, these are fish that you wouldn't normally be able to see in a place like this. They don't want to be here. So why do you think that you're giving them such a good life? All we're here for is to spread information that people wouldn't normally get, and hopefully in the future, the lives of all these animals will be better. And I was just like, fuck, we're really going for a realistic aquarium take, huh? Mm-hmm. Like, this is weird. But yeah, so that was the current situation. Don't know how the slugs are doing, but they removed them from the exhibit for the time being and put up a sign, which is, of course, what you would do. But people are not happy that that's the resolution.
Yeah, I mean...
While they keep trying to let these little creatures live that they've abducted.
That's big business, man. What can you do?
Exactly. So that was a pretty good time, as it is. Mm-hmm. And I have watched the latest episodes of Jobless Reincarnation.
Okay.
I could tell you that it's still absolutely gorgeous. I'm really interested in the story, and it's still way hornier than I wish it was.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, that's not why I'm here. I'm here for the great storytelling and the, awesome visuals.
But yeah, there's been some cool magic stuff going on. Rudy has a demon eye now.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah. So it's added some interesting things to where we've learned that he's not so good at using it aggressively, but defensively, it's a lot better.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's been interesting to watch, getting different perspectives on it. People that are aware of their team, since they're named Dead End, and that's named after this murderous person that is on their squad.
But he's got a shaved head, so no one knows.
He's a good guy, and also nobody knows it's actually him, but they still got to heed the rumors and whatnot. Everyone's just like, okay, there's this bald man, and he's this big, and he's like that, and people think he's this, and then there's this redhead girl, and she does that and that, and then there's this small boy, and he's a fucking animal.
He's a monster.
He always looks like he's up to no good. He's always got a smirk on his face, and he's really creepy. And like that's the way people describe their team. So then finally, the girl that trained Rudy, like initially, she's aware that he might be in this world that they're in, so she's kind of looking out for him with her team. Except doesn't have any idea that he's a part of Dead End, and they were able to see the two other members of Dead End, but not Rudy because he was off doing some other demon eye bullshit. Mm-hmm. And anyways, he because everyone thinks he's such a piece of shit, and she doesn't think he would be seen as that in this world. She's not assuming it's him still because she hasn't been able to see him. He got imprisoned. He was naked for a long time. He got imprisoned by cat people, and then he was able to save everyone, as it were.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I've been enjoying this new story arc for it because the more that he sees people suffering and gets punished himself, I feel like the more chances at him being a better person there are, because this whole show is supposed to be about him
improving,
growing as a person. So we'll see. We'll fucking see. We'll see how it goes. Still enjoyable. Still really good.
Well, that's it. It's your anime?
That's my anime, I guess.
I didn't watch any anime.
Why not?
I've been busy, but I think, and then also watching the new stuff. I don't remember. I don't know if we talked about it on the pod. I think maybe we talked about it after the pod. We talked about Seinfeld. Remember that?
Yeah. Was that after? Man.
I think it was after the pod.
Well, sure. Let's talk about Seinfeld.
But all I wanted to say is you were telling me the way you watch Seinfeld was on reruns. And so you don't really know the order of things because whatever was on is what you watched. Uh-huh. And you said, hey, man, does George work for the New York Yankees yet? I go, no. He's like, all right, cool. I just, and then I go home that night. I start working on my stuff. and I play an episode, and it's literally the episode where he got the job.
It was kind of around that same time
it just started, and then he still technically has a job. He's held on to it for a lot longer than I thought he would. But it's it's still good. I'm enjoying it. It's really fun. So
I love the whole him like having his own office, like that he crawls into and stuff.
Yeah, I like
that bit was fucking hilarious.
I like whenever they bring in, they have like the over the shoulder shot of the owner of the Yankees. He's like the way he talks. And,
you never see his face.
Yeah, it's so good. I just love that he's like he takes
really
things
enthusiastic
or takes things very literally, you know.
Yep.
And I guess his name is also George or whatever. There's an episode where George talks about himself in the third person. He's like, George's gonna go have lunch now, and he's like, okay. And then George puts out he's like, this is what I got for lunch, pimento toast or something like that. Anyways, good stuff. Yeah, so that's my favorite. Fun. That's the anime I watched this week.
Dude, that was a pretty solid anime. Seinfeld's one of the better ones out there, I think.
Better animes out there.
Oh man, Cowboy Bebop. I'll talk about this because it's not part of news. Did you see the trailer for the live
I didn't
action?
Watch it yet, no.
It's so weird because you could tell how much work was put into it.
But
no. Like,
no, but
not yet. There was so much effort put into everything. It looks stylized as fuck. It looks sick as hell. They put so much work into it, and it absolutely pays off.
Okay.
But
there it is.
Just had to get there because I really want to emphasize that this looks like it's something incredible. And then it happens to be Cowboy Bebop. And like, honestly, if you didn't have it be Cowboy Bebop, it might be better. But the fact that they're like trying to make it feel the same, but also have its own identity is just not working out. It's
for you, dude. For me, I'm loving it. I haven't even watched it and I love it. Polar opposites. We're going to take different opinions.
Yeah, that's fine. It was so weird. Just everything was oozing like style and grace, but
it's just a trailer, right? That the drop.
Yeah.
Okay. For the because it's a show, not a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
But at the same time, it just doesn't feel like it's actually Cowboy Bebop.
That's funny. You're like, it looks so good.
It really does.
But
yeah, no, Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. Other than
we'll be talking about it in the future for sure. We'll be doing we're going to be doing Bebop the show and then Bebop the live action. So
yeah. Ugh.
It's okay. I guess it's not news. Do you have news for me though?
Yeah, I have so much goddamn news.
I know one piece of news that's on there, and I'm pretty stoked. So let's hear it.
All right, cool. Well, I don't exactly have great news to start with.
Damn.
Chris Ayres, the English voice actor of Frieza from Dragon Ball Z, passed away at the age of 56.
Really? That's really sad.
Yeah.
And a moment of silence. That's a bummer. He's not that old. 56.
He had lung issues for a long time.
And Frieza is such an iconic character too. Damn. Well,
yeah.
I know that there's gonna be a lot of people that really miss that guy. So
it's a bummer. A huge announcement.
Great switch.
Moving on.
Yeah,
huge announcement.
Keep going,
dude. There's been a countdown going on that I don't know if you've been aware of it, but it's been going on for a little over 100 days now.
Gotcha game. Calling it. But Pachinko Machine. Calling it. What was it? What's the announcement?
Mob Psycho 100 Season 3 has been announced.
Woo! It's so crazy to me that that it's taken that long for it to be announced because it's such a good show. And I understand why maybe they go, oh, maybe we don't pick it because, it's not very popular, blah, blah. Everyone's like, maybe it doesn't sell merchandise like the Dragon Ball Zs and the Gokus and the, the Vegetas or whatever.
Yeah, but if all of us fucking weebs keep spreading the good word.
I just want a broccoli t-shirt from Mob Psycho so bad. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I do. With the whole explosion for the second intro.
Yeah. But I'm really excited for season 3. I've been seeing a lot of. It really makes me happy that it was announced, and then kind of my Instagram feed has just been a bunch of people posting their drawings and doing stuff because it's a really good show. It's and it's awesome. It absolutely deserves a third season, and I hope it's as good as the second and as good as the first.
It will be.
Yeah, that intro though, I'm already excited for that fucking intro. It's gonna fucking bop. The outro though,
99, 98. It was why is it counting down now?
What's going on? Is he?
Oh my god,
chilling out.
0 and then it's over. Hey, Kingdom season 4 has been announced. Shout outs to anime for getting another season of a show that we don't watch, but we might one day.
I have heard of that show. Good for them.
Proud of you guys. Way to get it. Other people I'm proud of. Zombieland Saga has officially released a new trailer for its upcoming film. It was all live action. And
what?
Because do you remember this huge spoiler? Skip forward like 10 seconds. The end of season 2, aliens destroyed literally everything.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so they should all be dead. So yeah, this movie, I don't know what it's gonna be at all, but it was like live action of just men shooting guns, like big directors and stuff, like from the show. It was very weird. It was so much fun though. Yeah, nobody knows what the fuck it is. It's being touted as like the mysterious teaser trailer. Solid up the alley of the same shit that we've been watching forever. The next Gridman universe has been revealed. So SSS Dynazenon, Gridman universe. Next Gridman universe is what we're going to be watching here. Cool. And when I say we, I mean not us. Not us. Some people are. People are so stoked about this, as they should be, because I feel like the Sentai genre, it's Sentai, right?
Is it still Trigger?
It's kind of like that. Yeah, it's Trigger stuff. But just the whole like, there are a bunch of people that are fighting weird things and giant mechs.
Yeah.
But it's not like a kaiju show. It's not like a mech show. But it's like a
Power Ranger-ish
kind of Power Rangers
thing,
thing.
Cool.
It has a place.
I like it. Like in my heart, like I'm sure, like, I fucks with the Power Rangers. I do see, whenever I see Sentai stuff, I go, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I think every time one of the SSS stuff pops up, I'm always like, I'm interested. I just don't really ever stick around for too long.
Just give me a beautiful show. A beautiful show is what I would call it. Beautiful Joe the anime. Yeah, that's what I want. That's really what I want.
A beautiful show. Beautiful Joe the anime.
Yeah. An anime called Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train Arc. You heard of this?
Yeah, the best thing ever.
Yeah, they've been condensing the movie into episodes. We talked about that.
Yeah.
The fourth one is scheduled for November 7th instead of October 31st. So heads up, it's not just going to get cut off, you guys. It's just taking its time.
A break.
Thanks to Halloween.
Edit it down. Good. That's cool. Whatever. I know people like that, so.
Hey, something else people like. Attack on Titan, the final season, is going to have a special event on November 14th. Don't know what it's going to be.
It's probably just like a mobile game. I'm excited for this. I really want this to end. I want to know what happened, but like in a good way.
I know.
I want what you mean. So then I can start from the beginning again.
Yes, exactly.
And be like, precisely. I knew that the whole time. It says right there. It's like fucking. That's what I want.
Yeah. A favorite manga of yours is getting an adaptation. My Dress Up Darling is going to be done by CloverWorks. They've revealed its staff and some new visual.
It's funny that you really made me think for a second. Like, a manga I mentioned. That's fucking dickhead.
Nope.
And it's done CloverWorks. Damn.
Yeah.
Gotta watch it. It's probably
gonna
be great.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, let's go through CloverWorks fuck ups. You want to?
The ending, second season of
Promise Neverland.
The ending.
That was a director and manga guy. That was their problem. It wasn't CloverWorks. That was their problem.
They also made it. I mean,
I think all the animation and stuff was pretty solid.
I don't
music
think
was
so.
Solid and
I think there's episodes in season 2 that look really bad, dude.
Oh yeah. No. I'm totally with you there. You remember the beginning of it though?
For that first episode.
Yeah. And then where the director and the manga guy both went in and they were like, let's fuck it all up. And then they probably had to pivot all of those scenes, right? So I'm not holding that against CloverWorks because it's a fucked up director and it's a fucked up manga guy. Anyways.
Next up, the ending of Shadow House, was that a miss?
Shadow House, people are more like, oh, what was going on with the final episode? But everyone's happy about the entire course of the show, aside from that final episode.
Right, but they also skip stuff because it's a manga, right? So they kind of fast forward through
at this point, people aren't worried about what's going to happen with the story. They're just curious how they're going to change stuff and tie it all around.
It's interesting because
it's not a fuck up. It's just
because
different.
One could argue that Promise Neverland does it. They're like, they're just skipping stuff, right? Like so,
sure.
But they skipped it and then they just did whatever they wanted, and then
well, with Shadow's House, it's not that they're skipping stuff; it's that things are happening out of order.
Okay.
Which is again the problem that happened in Promise Neverland. Then they just skipped it actually. So who knows? But
fucking Wonder Egg Priority.
That one is a CloverWorks fuck up.
The ending's bad.
That one was entirely a CloverWorks project. It was an original thing, and it just got completely fucked. People do not like the director. Apparently, they've had some stuff where he shames people that have been like victims. He's essentially just
really,
yeah. Which going into an anime about suicide really makes you think about things differently, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so apparently that's been a thing. I don't know how true it is. I'm just spreading rumors.
Allegedly, that's how we take care of ourselves. Allegedly, he sucks.
Anything else CloverWorks has done?
That sucks.
That's bad news. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like everything's still pretty good.
Yeah. No,
they had a really rocky track record. People bring up Horimiya a lot because it got less interesting halfway
I like
through,
that show.
But it was enjoyable. Yeah. Essentially, when the two main characters get together, it focuses on different things. So some people like to say that that's a flaw of the show, but I think that that's just how it went, and people had to put it together.
Isn't that show also based off of 4-Koma manga?
Exactly.
How do you like? You know what I'm saying? Like,
hard to fault CloverWorks.
They really didn't follow the source material too well.
But some people like to point at CloverWorks and go, you fucked up this thing. I do think that the first half of that show was better, but I don't think it was the fault of CloverWorks for it not being as good.
I'm not saying everything CloverWorks does is bad or they're not good. They're still an amazing studio. So this show that they're doing has a stupid name or whatever. It's probably about something dumb. It's probably going to look really good, and it'd probably be pretty good.
I mean, the image itself is a girl in front of a mirror, and in the mirror is her with like blonde hair, and then outside is her in a black dress with black hair, and like some stuff around her, a couple of wigs next to her and stuff. So it seems like it might just be like kind of a cosplay type thing.
Cool. Maybe yeah, who knows? I mean, I could honestly say that I didn't expect Horimiya to be like super entertaining, and I was like, I like this. Like this, who would have thought that they would make a show like this, right?
So they could handle slice of life.
Yeah.
They've treated us really good with things like Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
Yeah, banger.
Honestly, Promised Neverland season 1,
so good,
fantastic, and everything that they've worked on up until then, we have also loved. They've done all different kinds of projects. The spin-off of fucking Sword Art Online, which is better than the whole show.
They did Gun Gale Online?
I'm pretty sure they were the Gun Gale people. And before
they were CloverWorks?
Huh. It was either right when they were CloverWorks or right before they were CloverWorks. Because I remember I watched it at my last apartment, which is when I was also watching 02 Zone, whatever the fuck that was called.
02 Zone.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was
trigger bullshit.
02 Zone. What was that fucking
Darling in the Franxx, man?
Franxx, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, like I was saying, they've had a lot of really good things. I trust them for this new one, but people are, wondering what they're going to do, if they're going to fuck it up or not, because CloverWorks, track record's not as good as it used to be.
I mean, they're good. They're no powerhouse like Madhouse.
They're not going to do a Madhouse.
Fucking King of the Castle Madhouse.
King of the Hill. I love him.
Well, okay. What else you got?
There is a new anime that has been announced by Disney Plus, which surprised me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, I heard about this.
This. Twisted Wonderland. It is based off of a mobile game that's been out in Japan for over a year now.
Yeah.
And why did Disney announce this? Well, it turns out that they did a little bit of a gender bending and animatizing for all these villains in the Disney series.
You like Cruella de Vil? Let's make her a dude and hot.
Cruella's not part of this crew.
I'm saying that's kind of like the
I know.
vibe,
yeah. But what I am saying is they all look very different, and I couldn't figure out who was who. It's got all these different people that are all fucking sexy as hell, stepping out of coffins, and I was trying to figure out who they were based off of what they looked like.
Color palettes and stuff.
You could tell in the very middle. Well, there's a character who's got a couple of horns, and it's Maleficent. You can tell that for sure, but it's a dude. So what? That's crazy. And then I couldn't figure out many others. Scar, you could tell because there's a dude who has cat ears and a scar.
A scar, yeah.
So Scar, pretty solid. Oh, Queen of Hearts, look at that. She's got like different kinds of faces of cards that are on her clothes in a way, and she does look regal as hell. Oh shit, and then there's 4 more that I don't know who they are.
Is the Queen of Hearts a girl or a guy?
Queen of Hearts is a girl. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we're all good there. But then going from left to right, trying to figure it all out. It's a small picture. Oh, okay. You won't really be able to see it on my phone. But there's a dude who is wearing some like clothes with flames on it.
Hades.
No. Actually, I could already figure out Hades. Hades was on the very right. Long hair, it's all blue, and it's
Hades.
on fire.
Yeah.
That's Hades. Yeah.
Nailed it.
On the left, dude's got some like red and silver clothes. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
But the
big. Fire kind of like tipped me off that it might be somewhere hot, but it was more of a theme than it was like what the character actually did. Jafar.
Yeah.
Good. Takes a little while to get there, but it's there. So it's Jafar, Scar, and then a character that I couldn't fucking tell you what they were until I looked up all the different anime that were, or all the different Disney movies that were part of this anime. It turns out that this chick that just like dressed in some traditional Japanese clothes is the evil queen from Snow White.
Dope.
I would have never been able to figure out just the evil queen based off of this. She has kind of a tiara. That's kind of the tip off there. She has some jewelry in her hair or whatever. And then you got Maleficent, and to the right of Maleficent, you have somebody who's wearing like a lot of white. It's a dude who's got like a hat and he's leaned up against the coffin. And remember, it's all gender bent, so I don't know who the fuck this dude is. He's got white with a couple of small, very light purple, like kind of periwinkle accents. I would say 2 very small periwinkle accents. Otherwise, it's just like white and black. And that color scheme, yeah, exactly.
It's hard.
Who fucking knows, right?
Obviously, fucking Yzma from Emperor's New Groove.
You're kind of close.
Who is it?
Well, think of a fat version of Yzma.
Oh, the chick from Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, it's Ursula.
Ursula.
Yeah. So when I saw Little Mermaid and I saw this dude who's just like a thin, small dude dressed entirely in white with a hat, I was just like, what the fuck
That's
is
it.
this
That's
guy?
it. They nailed it.
Well, it's Ursula. And because they're all so different, because it's so animatized, I have been excited about this. I am a pretty big Disney boy. So getting a crossover between a couple of my favorite media things is rad as hell. Even though Disney is not my fave company, they also have some like dope ass shit.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyways, there was that. And I have one last announcement. This is exciting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know how the Tatami Galaxy...
Love it. No, it is. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I love this news.
Well,
let's hear it.
All right.
Don't try to psych me. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah. So Tatami Galaxy has... It was based off of a novel, and there are multiple novels written by the same person. We are going to get a spin-off sequel to the Tatami Galaxy finally after a decade, and it's Tatami Galaxy Time Machine Blues. Holy shit, this is so
That's
exciting,
crazy, right?
dude.
Yeah.
Not the same director. I don't think it's the same studio. I'm not 100%.
I think it actually might be the same studio.
Maybe the same studio. Definitely not same director. I do know that.
But it is Disney Plus. I was like, that's so strange.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Disney Plus did just do Star Wars Visions with a bunch of different animation studios. So, they could be like, cool, let's start making relationships with the other people and start making them make stuff for us.
Fucking crazy. I'm really, really, really excited about this.
Yeah.
It seems like it's news that's kind of been passed over in a lot of parts of the internet that I've been on. But man, I am so goddamn jacked.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was just like, this can't be real. Like,
It's real.
I was just like, no one cares or talks about this. So, and then I looked into it, I was like, wow, that's fucking dope. I was surprised it was Disney Plus, but I was just like, well, I mean, if that's who has to have it, then that's who has to have it.
Who has to have
But
it.
I'm excited for this. Hopefully, hopefully Disney continues to get good things, and like, hopefully the gender bending evil people was a good show,
Yeah, I mean, it's based off of a mobile game, so I'm not super hopeful.
So it's gonna be amazing.
But at the same time, I'm like, I mean, I'm down for some Disney bullshit.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, let's go. Yeah, so that's all the news that I have for you. And I figured that, this is the first week in a long time that I've actually had a substantial amount of things that people care about. Crazy.
Good stuff.
Crazy. I guess it's time to talk about Bright Samurai Soul.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
And
where to begin?
All right, so I don't know specifically what makes this so unenjoyable to me, right?
Yeah.
But I do know that this is something that you could just kind of throw on, and if you're not familiar with this kind of shit, you could be really into it.
Yeah.
there were so many different vibes going on right off the bat with this. I mean, it tricked us. We've talked a little bit about that before.
It goofed us, man. It goofed us big.
But I don't really know why this was made. And I want to talk about that before we even talk about the anime
why
itself.
It was made.
We had a live action movie 4 years ago.
Right.
That was okay. It got some like pretty decent reception. Wasn't the best. Honestly, my opinion of it was fun to watch. Might never watch it again.
Yeah, or think about it ever again.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that gets brought up every like couple of years, just like, hey, you remember this movie? And when I say a couple of years, I mean, we rarely ever talk about it, but I have talked about it with other people and been like, remember how they were doing some cool shit that was like, yeah, there are elves in the real world and they did it like good. And then they made an anime that was kind of like elves in the real world and there's other weird shit and there's like magic drugs and people are worried about that. And I watched that show. It was called like Copcraft or some shit like that.
Yeah, that
right?
was the one, yeah.
Wasn't my favorite because it kept getting worse and worse, but I really liked the idea of Bright, just these fantasy creatures that are taking residence in a regular world due to whether they've been here forever or it's something that they've had to like adjust to. Mm-hmm. So I like the concept of that. And then because that's the part that I like, where they're adjusting to a modern society. We don't often see fantasy creatures dealing with like computers and shit, right? They decided to go, yeah, fuck all that shit you liked. We're going into like ancient Japan, not ancient Japan, but like old school Japan before there was electricity and shit. There's magic stuff. I don't know. It just went so like, oh, this is a unique concept to this is a generic anime.
Why would this is just a like a Japanese. This is an anime based in like the Edo period, and they happen to be orcs and other things, but like it doesn't do anything special. And to your questions, like why is this made? I think, and like to my recollection, Bright was like 4 years ago, but I think it came out around that time where Netflix started like trying to get their foothold into the anime thing. They started like picking up some animes and stuff and started announcing their own. And I think they're like, cool. They did the one with what was it called? Blade Runner. They did Black Lotus or whatever, and then they announced this. They did the Pacific Rim one, right? Like existing properties, and it was like, let's just make an anime version of it and put that out there. They did The Witcher, Altered Carbon.
Oh, that one got an anime.
That one has an anime version, and the only reason I know about that is because there's a podcast I listen to. Then they talk about like pop culture and like TVs, movies, and stuff like that. And then they always bring up like, hey, by the way, this show is also getting an anime. It seems like they're just kind of trying to make money off of it. And so it's like, cool, we got Bright, we own this is ours. Let's animate it. You know, it's fucking, and they'll watch it.
Does it cost less?
I think so. I would imagine the Bright anime that I watched costs significantly less than the Bright movie. Especially because of the fact like we don't have Will Smith. You know, that's why most of the budget goes there, right?
Yeah,
so it's just like
that's true.
Like in this one,
I mean, we had Simu Lee for the
English dub that I don't think many people really watched. I bet.
I think a lot more people are going to watch it in English compared to Japanese, based off of who Bright is for.
I don't
think Bright. They were like, this is for anime people.
I honestly feel like those people who like Bright and watch this, they're not going to like this. I don't think this is. I think they're going to have a horrible time.
That's what I'm saying. The parts of Bright that I liked, because I genuinely did have a really good time with the movie.
Yeah.
The parts of Bright that I liked didn't exist in Bright Samurai Soul.
No,
at all.
Like it's like cool. I want to see how the culture is different because these different races live today where I see in modern time, and because it's so far in the past, like cool, this doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. And honestly, it didn't do anything at all. Bright, what they were trying to do is they were trying to make like a social commentary using the different kinds of fantasy races instead of human races to show racism and stuff and to show prejudice.
And then I think on top of that, they also then showed racism and prejudice within the human races. Like cool, we're all human, but I'm black, that guy's Mexican, this guy's white, and there was still racism that involved. It's like, so it was like
that was there's levels, big topic.
Yeah. And I think I think that came off well and it was clear as to like what was going on. I think that this was made, and it was made for the sake of like, let's just make an anime. And we, like I said, they own the property of Bright. Let's make that let's make this. I think it would have been
weird.
I think if they wanted to make an anime that the bright people would like, they should have either made a prequel of like the cop story that there was, or a continuation, and that would have been, people would have liked that.
Yeah.
If they're trying to sell it for the bright people. But I think they're just trying to get the anime people in it and think that we'll just watch anything that's anime and be like, have a great time, because they think maybe we're dumb.
I honestly think that this was easier than if they were to do a modern world anime as well. I think that would have been too complicated. There are a lot of details in modern like buildings and stuff that Bright emphasized. Like they had a lot of raids in different places, which can be really confusing. So having the open fields and stuff for these characters to be in and fight in, and the landscapes that were a lot easier to just animate it for what it was and not have to worry about the confined spaces. That was a lot better for this. Even when they were fighting inside of buildings and whatnot, they were huge fucking buildings.
Yeah.
And
I think that if they would have done Bright this anime in the time that normal
in the
Bright
modern
is,
days,
in the modern days with the budget and the quality of animation that they did this with, that would have been garbage. If they would have done Bright in the modern day and actually done like a better job,
if they, because we haven't talked about it yet, but they used a unique animation that was a 3D animation. It looked like it was kind of like a game engine animation more than anything.
It reminded me of those like Telltale stories, like
sure,
like the Walking Dead one, the Wolf one or whatever.
It kind of gave me Genshin Impact vibes, but like
which one's that? I don't think I know that one.
It's a very popular Chinese game that people say ripped off Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild and stuff. You seen?
Okay,
I
think
I got ads for those on YouTube all the time. Played it for a little bit, but anyways, it kind of has those like cell shaded vibes, but not
like it's like I think it's flat and tonal kind of thing.
Yeah.
But and then there's just like random colors that really pop.
Sometimes it worked like very well. I thought whenever they were near grass, I thought that the grass looked really unique up against their bodies because it didn't have those defined outlines.
Yeah, there wasn't details in it. Yeah.
It looked pretty cool that way. And you could still tell what everything was, but it looked more like an artistic choice versus
a way to save money or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was all part of their plan. I think that there was a lot of thought that went into how are we going to animate this? Let's try a few different things.
Yeah.
That one actually looks good. Let's go with that. It'll probably be easy for us to do.
Yeah, well, like,
whatever.
Like, I think that when I started watching this, I was going to watch it while I was doing other stuff. And, and when I looked over and I saw what was going on, I was just like, it did, like I said, it tricked me. I was just like, hold on, let me pause this. I think I want to focus because of the way the camera was moving, the way that it visually looked. I'm like, this is interesting. It doesn't look like normal. Like, it doesn't look.
No, it had these cool panning shots. It did have like a lot of nice little details of the still shots. Like in the background, there's just a small little lamp and it has the light coming from the lamp. It comes in like a special way to where it's like an extra little color that they put around it where it doesn't feel like it's actually emitting light, but it feels like an artistic choice.
Yeah, and it didn't give off just like that very classic Netflix 3D animation vibe, like that Pacific Rim,
it's not like
Knights of Sidonia, like fucking Ajin or whatever, like Baki the Grappler. Those all look the same. Like those are all just the same,
honestly.
Like the same
program.
Yeah, it looks like they just they have that very specific style of that 3D anime that I'm not a fan of. But we've gone to see other 3D anime that is good, like like Beastars. We're like,
Beastars is amazing.
Like, look how great this looks. It's 3D, so it's turned me around a lot. So this one was like, this looks different than those other generic ones. It doesn't look amazing. I'm intrigued though. And then on top of that, the music, right? Like the music started playing. I was like, this is
music was weird.
What I'm hearing, I was like, I don't know why I'm hearing this. It kind of works.
But it was such a different tone than the scene would have normally had.
Exactly.
So it changed the way that everything felt. And it felt more surreal and like I was just like watching an experience and the music was separate from the action. It felt like a music video.
It was,
And I fucking liked it a lot, actually.
I agree. I think it was for the first 15 minutes I was like kind of interested. And then when I focused and watched it, sat down and watched it, didn't do another thing, I then realized, no, this isn't good. Like, it's just like, it was good for a bit, but this shit doesn't hold. It's like a boat has a bunch of holes in it. Like, it just...
So it turns out that the bizarre music choice that really worked, because it was such a cool, like, prog rock song that was going on for a while. Then it got into more heavy action, and then the prog rock really went off, and it was going a lot harder than I expected. And then it changed up to like a more math rock thing going on where they're just like tapping on guitars and making weird, cool sounds. But it didn't fit the scene still. And then once that music stopped, it was so glaringly obvious how that was carrying the scenes.
Yeah, you're like,
because they were these sick ass animations too. Like there was a lot of fighting. Immediately, I was like, I don't really like these sound effects though. Personally,
well, there's times where like the fighting felt really good in my opinion, and there's times where I was like, this feels very choreographed to the point where like, it's like I feel like he's just people are almost getting in the way, waiting their turn to be stricken down. I was just like, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's a artistic choice. That could be like an homage to these older, Japanese karate movies or like those.
It's respect. It's a 1v1 battle, even when there are 30 people surrounding one guy.
Maybe like it kind of felt like that, but it was like but realistically in a fight, they would all just kind of come at you, right? They would just kind of pile up on you. So
I mean, maybe not everybody because they don't want to get in each other's way, but there would be more than one person.
It's not going to be like, okay, take your turn. Now I'm going to take my turn. It's
like he's facing that way. I'm going to go stab him
on this side. Yeah,
I'm going to slice his ass open or something.
But there were times where like the fights did feel really fluid. I liked when he fought the orc guy. I was like, oh, it's pretty good. Like there's like I feel the two different styles of fighting, the two different weights that they hold or whatever, and it's like, okay, cool, it's interesting.
They were doing a good job. And so far, by the way, nothing has happened in this movie to make me feel like there was a plot.
No, yeah,
it was just a lot of fighting.
And, like a girl got sold into some sort of brothel, and I was like, cool, that's all I know. And then fight breaks out. Like,
and still, like, we don't know why she was sold. And then
in the beginning was a fight. It was a fight in the beginning.
Yeah, and then it went immediately into another fight.
Right, voiceover, and then girl gets sold, another fight. I was like, I still don't know what's going on.
So I thought that was what it was going to be. It was just going to be like, we're going to explain the plot very shortly, and there's going to be more and more fights, and we're just going to keep fighting and keep having cool music. And then they got rid of the music, and then they got rid of the fighting, and the fighting came back, but the music didn't come back, and then the music came back, and it didn't feel the same.
I think what they should have happened with the dialogue snuck in. I was like, man, I fucking hate these people talking to each other. It just felt so forced and cringy and unrealistic that the ways that these people would speak to each other. I did not like the dialogue at all.
Yeah, their dialogue was garbage.
Its
plot was fucking stupid. They did one of my least favorite things.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Oh, just at the end. Spoilers for Bright Samurai fucking Soul or whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna ruin this whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing is like we're trying to get this girl, and then it turns out that there's like a special wand that this other chick
the very end bit,
and then they fucking throw the secret wand into the ocean for somebody else to get eventually.
It's
because it has magic energy that people can like see. It's find.
They get that trope. This trope of being like, we fought so hard to get this thing, or we have this precious item, and the character goes whatever, and throws it over their shoulder and walks away, right? And they're like, yeah, that is pretty played out.
Yeah.
Especially like the other guy's like, what? You're just going to throw that in there? He's like, whatever. Who cares? Not my problem.
That's the way it always goes.
I'm a bodyguard, dude. I'm not a samurai. Get over it.
There's another thing that had the same thing happening. And then, of course, they find the special shit that got thrown off a bridge.
Yeah.
And shit goes sideways. But I don't want to spoil that for anybody since it's a whole different thing.
Okay.
But still, like, it just happened, and I was like, man, that shit's so fucking stupid, whatever.
It's lazy.
And then this movie did it, and I was like, this movie would fucking do that. I was so unsatisfied with the end. Because the end was like, whoa, they're making bold choices. Well, all right.
What's another? This did have another trope that I don't like. You got a twin, or like a sibling that looks alike.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that too. I couldn't figure if that was convenience for animation or what, because she had different hair, so it doesn't seem like it was convenient for animation.
I mean,
but it was a very convenent. Are you this person?
No,
she might be my sister.
So like, what the fuck, dude? It was so good. Yeah. So in the beginning, one of the, I think she was what was she, like a geisha?
Yeah, she was like a
prostitute.
I think she was the head of.
She was the top girl.
Yeah.
The
head whore.
The head whore.
Let's call her that. Yeah.
She gets killed, and she quickly bonds with like the new girl elf that got sold or whatever.
Like, what up? We're both elves.
And she's like, I hate you. And then they talk for a bit. She's like, I actually love you. It's like the development of the relationship, everything felt so forced and fake.
Honestly, though, it made way more sense once they revealed what she was up to.
Yeah.
The little girl has this power that she could see people's like auras if they're good or bad.
Yeah.
And she's learned to trust people whenever it's good. So she's like, fuck you, you're evil, until she could see this chick's its aura.
She's like,
but we
"Ooh."
didn't know that at that point.
No.
And this little girl doesn't have any personality other than, I hate you and I'm going to hiss and scratch at
Bitch
you.
loves to bite, dude. She loves biting people. Her greatest power is to bite. And anyways, and later on in the movie, she gets captured. She gets the wand to and she needs to activate the power. She doesn't really have it, but then she looks over and sees the main character, the girl's sister who we met earlier, and she's a twin sister. She looks exactly the same, and she's just like, "Is that you?" And that kind of gives her enough energy to do the thing, you know. And it's just like, God, this feels so fucking forced. But it was one of those things where the two people meet up, and he's just like, "Oh, I thought you were somewhere else," and she's like, "You could be my sister, my twin sister, maybe." And when it comes to like whether it's a case of like saving money, it could. I mean, I didn't pay too much attention unless her hair moved. If it was like up the whole time, it could have been as easy as just turning one thing on, turn the other one off. So
that's why I don't know what their program was. It did take less effort or whatever. But I was just like, I'm
gonna chalk that one up to just like lame storytelling.
Lame storytelling,
yeah. So like,
I mean, the thing is, I don't mind whenever twins are like a story element.
Yeah.
Whenever they're these special twins that have something special going on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it was more of a like, hey, look for my sister here. She looks just like me.
Yeah,
I would have been like, okay. But instead it was like, are you my dead friend?
Yeah,
she was like, no, I'm not your dead friend, but your dead friend might be my dead sister. Just like, what are you talking about?
And then he goes, yeah, my sister's dead. My friend's dead. My sister's dead now. Thank you for telling me, because she doesn't know. You know?
Yeah, no, she doesn't. She's like, holy shit, that's my dead sister. Anyways, I'm going to join you on your quest because I'm apparently like a really important person.
Yeah, same. It's like, what did that? I think fucking Beer Fest did that. One of the characters, he died in a vat of beer. He drowned or whatever. Yeah, and then like the next day, his brother came in and he's just like, yeah. And he had a mustache. He's like, I'm going to take my brother's spot. And he shaved. He just became his brother. And he's just like, do you guys mind if you guys call me by his name? It'll make you like really happy. So they just replaced him completely. And I was like, nice. Way to do it. Way to do
That's
it.
Funny.
Way to do it well.
That's a good bit.
These people didn't do it well at all. Like, there's plenty of ways to handle that, you know? Like, they could have done a better job introducing her, but it literally was running into someone on the street and be like,
because none of the dialogue or story elements seemed to matter. Yeah. All that they cared about was the fights. I mean, we could like break this down any way you want to, but what it comes down to is this was not an enjoyable anime experience for me. No. But I went into it pretty negative, which can go either way. I could either hold on to that or be proven differently. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning, I thought I was getting to watch a kick-ass Daft Punk type experience. Thought I was going to have like this weird-ass surrealist like action movie thing, or like, you know, maybe the story would be told with like a different kind of music going on when they're telling the story bits, and then action goes back to prog rock or whatever. They completely abandoned the music, and I was taken out so hard, only because they were able to keep the music such a consistent, like strong element of the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like I got duped.
They tricked us.
I got fucking duped. And then at the end, they were doing cool shit too. I was like, holy shit, they just went for this ending.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in the last 5 minutes, they took back everything they could.
Yeah, I was like, when the orc guy got shot in the leg by that weird dude with the tentacle hands,
I was like, wow. Okay, like, first off, how did he get a tentacle hand?
How did his hand phase off?
His hand phased off because she is a bright.
I watched it twice. Like, I rewinded it. I was like, I don't know why did that happen.
It doesn't show it. She's a bright, and that was our first indication that she has superpowers that we don't know about.
Did she hold the wand to him or something?
It didn't have to do with wand stuff at all. I think it had to do with she was going to use the wand and do something, but the little girl has this innate power in her. So when he tried to grab her, it like exploded his hand. Maybe But she bit him. Like, the little girl bit his hand. He's like, fuck, I'm going to get you for this bitch. Or whatever. And then there was an explosion, and everybody fell to the ground. And then he stood up, and then his hand just disappeared. Yeah.
So who was the one that did the thing?
I think that
dead
was
twin
her.
Or the girl?
I think it was the girl.
Okay.
I think the dead twin intended on doing something, but we didn't get to see what it was. And yeah, the little girl was...
The only reason I think is like, okay... The little girl bit his hand, right? And then eventually phased off. Like, she bit plenty of other people's hands, and no one else got vaporized, essentially. So I was like, I don't know. But anyways.
I agree.
Later on,
dumb and unclear.
He has acquired some sort of tentacles.
Yeah, he has a squid hand, and it was very unclear.
It was also very efficient. Like,
he could manipulate it so well.
He had so many guns on his back that he would just move the tentacles, and they would just grab different guns and shoot. I was like, as
accurately too. Like,
as
you
dumb
can't
as I
fucking
thought
do that
this movie was. I'm like, that is pretty. That is a nice touch. I think it's
badass,
pretty cool.
but at the same time, there's no like. There was no indication that he had any kind of special magic.
Yeah, or they could have been like someone. The bad guys have some sort of magic person. Be like, cool, I'm gonna take this thing, drink this vial, do this spell, something to be like
anything
to fix his fucking lame hand, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, he's like he just has it, which is
he just has it.
But that fight they're fighting, the tentacles are going crazy. The tentacles kill 2 of his own men. I don't know if you noticed that. They just grab 2 men, throw them away.
They don't care.
The part that killed me was the tentacles shot off the orc's leg, and I was just like,
whoa, that was fucking crazy.
That's what I saw. I was like, oh, fuck. And I was thinking, oh, man, like, that sucks. And I was like, he could still probably be okay. He'll probably stop the bleeding.
That's what I'm like.
Maybe he'll get like a robotic foot, and then, or like, a mechanical one. Or
Orcman takes out this villain, fucking crushes his skull.
But I thought like, even before he'd crushed his skull, I was already thinking like, how are they going to get this orc guy's leg back? Was my thing. And I was like, they'll probably just use magic to regrow it back. That was my guess, right? And before I was done with that thought, one of the tentacles is still alive.
Yeah.
And fucking caps him.
Yep.
Right in the head.
So I was already like, whoa, that leg thing was crazy. Oh shit, they just killed the bad guy. All right, well, bold stuff.
Cool.
Oh, what? Okay, well, I don't agree with that, but bold to kill off one of the main fucking characters.
I thought that I was like, what? That was wild. And then I remembered, it's magic. It'll probably be okay.
It's magic. Fuck it. And then the other guy dies too.
The other guy dies, and the girl uses the wand with the power of, I saw you kind of look like that person I'm really good friends with. Brings him back to life. Fixes his eye, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, he has 2.
He's cured now.
He has 2 gnarly
all of his
scars.
ailments. He's got a new body. He's great.
Then she just vaporizes the baddie.
Yep.
And then cut to later, and then the orc's just alive. So I'm assuming, they must have healed him at some point.
I guess so.
I thought maybe what she was going to do is like expand the area of the effect and like lift it up and like maybe by default cure the orc guy also, but they didn't make any point of it. He has his leg back. He's not dead. He does have a scar on both sides on the front of his head and his back of his head. I was like, nice touch. I'll give you that. Good job. Because he did get his brains blown out, which I thought was wild.
He fucking did. So a lot of interesting things in this movie that could have gone in more positive ways, but they just didn't.
Yeah, interesting.
I think it's fucking bullshit that they were like, we're going to kill off one of the main characters, and then we're going to kill off the other main character. Oh, shit, we don't have it. Well, we're just going to bring them back then. Like, if one comes back, we couldn't just not bring the other back, right? Yeah. Just fucking messy, stupid. I got lost. If you've noticed, we haven't really talked about the plot yet.
Because it's bad.
There isn't really a plot.
No.
It's just that this girl is important for some reason that isn't really revealed. And then finally near the end, they're like, oh, she's a bright. Like,
it's kind of the same reason as the movie where there's like, they find a wand and now they need to find a bright to use the wand, right? And so this one's like, cool. Like, we need to find a bright and we need to find a wand. Because like, she has both of those, right? She's a bright and she has the wand. I think it would have been better if she just would have killed everybody on the boat, like one of those things where everybody dies, right? And then she's like, cool, and just kind of been like the status quo of our main character, of the top hoe or whatever, the best hoe.
Yeah, sure.
Where she just forgot her memories and like, cool, now she wanders and she's got her fucking magic wand. I was like, yeah, why not? But no, they did. Let's bring all the good guys back. Let's kill all the bad guys.
You know how sick it would have been if she did an AoE resurrection
and killed
and
the
then
sister?
all the bad guys were alive again?
Oh, that would have been good.
And then they had to keep fighting, and
that would have been different.
Yeah, that could have been. There could have been a lot of cool things that happened that didn't. Yeah. So, anyways, they were trying to escort her to some place that she was told she needed to be taken, and they also had a hairpin that they were trying to deliver that was also a wand, but they didn't know where to take that to, and honestly, it didn't really explain what they were planning at any point.
Yeah.
But they wind up getting to a location that's not where they're supposed to be, finding out the sister stuff, and then they the sister was apparently involved in an organization who is hunting down these people that they were looking for anyways.
Shield of Light or something like that.
Yeah, that stole the little girl. And for some reason, these people are dedicated to getting the little girl, even though they didn't know anything about like what her deal was still.
Yeah, they just like, we got to save her. She's our person.
It doesn't make sense. They don't have, like, they do have sense of like righteousness, but
I'm the bodyguard.
Why do they commit so hard to saving this girl that they don't know anything about when it seems like both of them have done a lot of shitty things? Yeah. And if they keep hunting these people down, there's not even a good chance that they'll find them. But it's an anime, it's a fucking movie, so of course it's going to work out. But still, like,
especially like, you know, you said all that stuff and they eventually meet up with the sister and she tells them her part of the story and she's just like, everything's being put together. Our main character with the scar on his face, the bad guy happens to be his master or whatever, you know, from the past or whatever. Like, it's just like really lazy. I was looking at the time. There was 20 minutes left at that point. At the point where it's just like, we got to go save the girl. I thought, is it just that it's going to end here? And then, and they somehow wrap it all up in 20 minutes. And I go, that's fucking
It's because nothing happens.
I sat there for an hour for it to be wrapped up in 20 minutes. I was like, God, this is garbage. And it just was boring and just not...
It's not worth it. Yeah. But I would highly recommend, if you're so curious to see why we were entranced in the first 15 minutes, check it out. See what was going on, because it was a very unique experience that I haven't had with anime.
I was entertained
since Daft Punk.
It did feel like, whoa, this shit bops. What's going on? And then I was like, it's just not good.
It was just so specifically different than any music I had heard in anime. And in media, I would say this is something that I've listened to plenty on my own time, but it's never something that I've seen in a movie or a show or anime or game or anything like that. This felt like this is a YouTube video I'm watching, you know, something like that. It was interesting. Don't watch this whole thing unless you're a huge Bright fan and you want to like the series a little bit less.
Yeah. Well, that's all there really is to it. There's nothing more to say.
There's going to be a lot more to say next week
when we talk about Bright.
Okay, yeah, we're just talking about the actual live action. Next week, we're going to be talking about a ton of different anime.
Yeah.
All the new anime that's come out over this last fall season of anime. There's some good stuff, but not much.
There's some really bad stuff, too.
Look forward to us
complaining, pulling our hair
lamenting.
Yeah. So this was garbage.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for listening. It's been a super chill time. I'm actually really happy that you hung out and listened to this whole episode where we talked about a show, movie that we didn't like.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you like our theme song, check out Not Mars on Spotify. Trip, where can we find us?
Facebook, look up the Instagram Podcast. Same thing goes for Instagram. Look up the Instagram Podcast. If you want to send us a tweet at Instant Ramen Pod.
Podcast Benefit.
And you can shoot us an email, instagrampodcast@gmail.com. We stream on twitch.tv/Crispather sometime between 8:30 and 9 Pacific time. Mm-hmm. And thank you guys once again for being our boys and just listening and being, best people that you could be.
Yep. We'll see you next week.
We sure will.
This is Bye from Juan.
See you around from Chris.
Hey, Trip, don't forget.
Just add hot water.